Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for stopping by the channel. So for this video, we're going to be talking about a watch with one of the most iconic designs out there in the Omega Speedmaster Professional. And while the original Speedies were very much marketed as a purpose-built tool watch and the first one on the moon, the one on the wrist today is the white lacquer dial version, and I think it's more than just a fresh coat of paint. I think some of the design choices Omega made helps elevate it to a watch that's not just a tool timepiece, but something perhaps a little bit more luxurious, and it's also a really good strap monster. So with that said, why don't we flip the camera around and you guys can take a close-up look at the white Omega Speedy in the studio. So now that we're in the studio, we can take a closer look at this lacquer white dial Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. And while that white color is going to be the main difference when you compare this to a standard black Speedmaster, and trust me, I've owned a few of those, I actually want to get the similarities out of the way first before talking about some of the features that I think elevate this watch to a great everyday timepiece. So the first and foremost, the dimensions are the same. So it's a 42mm case diameter. If you flip the watch to the side, lug to lug is 47mm, and that holds true even if you have it on the bracelet because it pulls straight down. And because you have a sapphire sandwich variation here, the overall height is still 13.2mm thick from the bottom of that screw down case back, which does have the display window to show off their manual wind movement, and then also to the top of a highly boxed sapphire crystal that's actually evocative of plexiglass, which is kind of cool. Similar lug opening whether you go on bracelet or on strap, so 20mm at the head of the watch. The bracelet tapers generously down to 15mm when you get to the signed Omega clasp. Twin trigger release here. And this clasp even has their on-the-fly adjustment system on the underside here. So you can give yourself a little bit more room on a hot day, say if your wrist does swell up. And here's a quick in-studio wrist shot, just to show you how well this watch would wear on a 7.5-inch wrist size, which is 19 centimeters in circumference if you use the metric system. And sized up for my wrist, the watch weighs in at 138 grams, just like it did on the black Speedy. But I gotta be honest, I've been wearing this watch mainly on aftermarket straps because I think the white dial just pairs well to many different strap options. Now to close out some of the other similarities before talking specifically about this white dial Speedy, you will have the same tachymeter scale for the bezel, which is aluminum here. You have the same 50 meters of water resistance for this particular timepiece, and then inside the watch is the exact same caliber 3861, which is their master chronometer chronograph, giving you 50 hours of power reserve, highly anti-magnetic watch. It is METS certified for accuracy, meaning that it won't deviate more than 0 to +5 seconds per day, and overall very robust movement. I like that you can see it through the display caseback as well, because there's really nothing like a rotor or big base plates to obstruct your view of all the different components. So where this white dial Speedy does kind of shine is that I think that the glossy white has a very nice contrast, especially the way that Omega added applied and black polished hour markers. And you also have a nice black border to the hour and minute hands and the chronograph seconds hands as well. I also think that the white on the dial really helps accentuate some of the depth when you consider the sunken sub-registers. And there's also the minute track that is stepped down when you compare it to the main section of the dial. So overall, you're getting a bit more visual interest than I think you would find. And there's also a very nice pop of red color that you wouldn't normally see on a black dial Speedy. And that's found below the Omega logo where it does say Speedmaster, and then it's also found at the tip of the chronograph's seconds hand. Now, in my experience, white dials tend to visually look a little bit larger than their black dial counterparts, but because you still have the same black aluminum tachymeter bezel, it frames the dial very well, and I think this watch actually wears very true to size, if not slightly smaller, say like a 41mm chronograph. Now, one of the small trade-offs you're going to have with the applied black polished hour markers is that those indices aren't fully loomed like you would see on a black dial Speedy. Now, you still do have loom at the very periphery of those hour markers and excellent loom on the hour, minute, and chronograph seconds hands, but it doesn't really compete overall when you're looking at a standard Speedy. But that's a really minor nitpick. The other thing that I will say about a glossy white dial is that you can actually see a lot of shadows that are cast when you have this watch outside. Sometimes the dial might look a little bit washed out, or sometimes that chronograph seconds will really cast a shadow on some of the dial, obstructing it slightly compared to a black dial Speedmaster. But I think this really does add character, and again, you're getting a little bit more depth and dimension than you would normally see on a printed black dial Speedy, and I think that this is a really nice addition to their catalog. The other thing I will say is that the polished accents that you get, say like on the intermediate links of the bracelet or on the lyre style lugs, is complemented very well to white dial, and to me this reads more like something you can dress up more, wear in the office, compared to that utilitarian tool watch that you're going to find on a standard Speedmaster. But guys, let me know your feedback in the comment section of this video. What do you think of this particular white dial Speedy? Would you consider picking one up in your personal collection? And if you do enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. It really does help me out. And as always, I can't wait to catch you guys in the next video.